welcome back to my channel. It is that time of the month again. It is time for my June wrap up. I read 6 books in June. I wish I had read more, but I'm going to show you what I read and tell you what I thought about them. Okay, so the very first book that I read this month was Meet Me by the Lake by Carly Fortune or Fortune. I don't know. I still don't know. I actually talked about this in my May wrap up because I thought I was going to finish it in May. I didn't. I finished it in June. I finished it on June 2nd. Essentially, this follows our main character, Fern Brookbanks, who her mother has died and she's kind of having to take over her mother's like lakeside resort that she ran. She doesn't really want to run this resort, even though like that was kind of her mother's dream for her to do that. And it goes back and forth between a day like 10 years ago that she spent with this guy in the city and current day where he shows up and he's at her resort offering her help. And he never showed up to this like day that they planned to meet at the lake. And so she's kind of bitter about it. And so it's all about her deciding what she wants to do, if she wants to save the resort, and kind of her like rekindling things with her, this guy that she met 10 years ago that she really fell for. So it's back and forth. It was good. I think I liked her first book better, Every Summer After, but it was still cute. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't my favorite romance, and like I read it quick, but I also just like didn't feel myself wanting to read it. So it was kind of just like, I think too, I was in a kind of a slump when I started this book, so I think that has to do like with a lot of the reasons why I didn't love it as much as I might have. I'm not saying it's a bad book, I just wasn't feeling it in the moment, so I gave it 3 stars. Next up, we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I read this because my friend has been begging me to read it for a while. I've had it on my TBR. I had it on my TBR for a really long time. My friend read it and she was like, you have to read it. Like, I need to know like what your thoughts are on it. So I finally picked it up. First off, it's a chunky book. It's, how many pages is this? Like 530 something pages. I think it was a little bit too long. So there's that. I also just didn't love it as much as I thought I would. And maybe it's because like maybe I just don't like small town vibes. But essentially we have our main character, who, her name is Naomi, and she basically is a runaway bride, and she gets a call from her twin sister to meet her in this town, and then her twin sister steals her car and like all of her things, and she's stuck in this town with a niece she didn't know she had. In comes Knox Morgan, who is helping her, but also they have some issues because he hates her sister. He's grumpy, she's kind of sunshiny, but she's also very like, I need to have a plan and this is not going to my plan, so it stresses me out. And it basically just follows their relationship and what she's like running from and dealing with everything with her sister as well, as her sister like literally ran away with all of her things. But I did end up giving this 4 stars. Like, it was a cute romance. I'll definitely be reading the next book, which is about Knox's brother Nash. I think there's going to be a 3rd one as well. I know everyone loved this book, and so maybe I just had higher expectations in my head. And I saw a lot of people also say that they cried at this book. I did not feel an ounce of sadness, not once, reading this book. Like, I didn't, nothing. There was nothing. So I don't know if I just had too high of expectations, and that's why it like let me down, or what. I literally texted my friend, I was like, I honestly didn't love it that much, and I felt bad having to tell her that. But I'm gonna read the second one. Maybe I'll like it better. If you've read both of them, let me know. Do you like Things We Never Got Over better or Things We Have From the Light better? Like, what's the verdict on that? Because I just, it wasn't bad. Okay, I enjoyed it. There were parts of it that I really liked. It was not what I wanted it to be. And so like, I know I'm going to read the second one, but I just need to know if it's like the second one's good. So let me know your thoughts on like this, because I mean, I know everyone loved it, but I just need to know, will I enjoy the second book, or if I didn't love this one that much, is it even worth it? The next book I picked up this month was Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman. That's bad. The same girl that wrote Funny You Should Ask. Also, I just have to say I love these book covers. Like, I think they're so freaking cute. This was actually sent to me by NetGalley. I actually read it after it came out though. So I read it on my Kindle. This follows our main character, who was a famous pop singer, but this cheating scandal ruined her career and her life. And essentially she is given the opportunity to, you know, give her reputation another go by being in a Broadway play, but turns out the play is being directed by this guy that she had a thing for back in the day, and they kind of hate each other at this point. So it goes back and forth between like their situation and how they like grew to have feelings for each other and everything that happened in the past leading up to her like scandal and downfall of her reputation, and the present in which they are trying to make this Broadway show work and get along while also falling in love with each other again. I actually thought this one was really cute. I don't know, it was like adorable, but there were parts of it that I was like, this is not like my favorite. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. It was a cute romance. I did like parts of it. Parts of it were a little bit like, oh, that's kind of meh. But I definitely think that if you liked Funny You Should Ask, you'll definitely like this one. Funny You Should Ask was movie stars. This is singers / Broadway performers. So yeah, I did read this on NetGalley. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. It was cute romance. If you're looking for something short and if you liked Funny You Should Ask, definitely pick it up. The next book that I read was Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I don't know what happened. I have like a dent here and it's kind of annoying because I do have the Illumicrate edition. Can we just take a moment for this book real quick? It's beautiful. So you have like the normal cover on the front, and then underneath is the cover of the book that she steals, the last front. I was so hyped for this Illumicrate edition because I love R.F. Kuang. I will read anything that R.F. Kuang writes, okay? Poppy War was one of my favorite series I've read. Babel was extremely good. It was one of my 5-star reads last year. So I was waiting for this to come. So I read it this month. If you don't know, Yellowface basically follows a white author who her Chinese American friend dies and she steals her manuscript, edits it, and puts it out as her own. And she's like living this lie. She uses a name that's like very ambiguous so that she can kind of pose as Chinese American so that people will read her book. She wants people to like find her authentic, which is why she changes the name for the book. And she's basically just posing as like the author of this book even though she stole it. And how long could she keep up appearances, and just like her straight being delusional for so much of this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and I think that it would have been 5 stars honestly if it had not taken me so long to read it, because like I started reading it, I went out of town, and I came back, and it was just like because I had to stop the story. It just took me too long to get back into it, which I think is what ruined my experience with it a little bit. Like if I could have just sat down and read it, like I probably would have flown through it and I probably would have given it 5 stars. But I did give it 4 stars, honestly probably 4.5. It was still really good. And again, I will read anything R.F. Kuang writes. I love her. It's so good. Like everything she does is just so good. So I did really enjoy it. I literally was angry the whole time with the main character because she's like a piece of crap, but like that's the point. But I definitely think that you should pick this up. I do highly recommend it. The next book I read this month was for book club, and it was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I have seen some controversy like since we chose this book over her writing, so I'm not really sure about all of that. I'm not going to touch on that. I'm just going to tell you about this book, and then you can research and decide whether you still want to read her books. But basically we have our main character, she just got out of jail. Hi, this is editing me. In the original clip I said she gets a job being a live-in nanny, and I was confused because I was thinking about hidden pictures, but she gets a job being a live-in housemaid for this couple who has a kid. So she wasn't a nanny, she was a housemaid. It doesn't take long before the wife starts acting crazy and she starts falling for the husband. It's just a wild ride. I don't know how to explain it without just like completely spoiling it, but the mother or the wife kind of treats her terribly. The kid is creepy. There's weird things happening. and she's just trying to like hold on and hold out for this job. I can't say anything else without spoiling it. It is a thriller. And I did actually really enjoy this book. It wasn't like the best. It reminded me a lot of other books, which there lies the problem with Frida McFadden's writing here recently. People are, saying that she's plagiarized some of her work. So I ended up giving it 3 stars just because it felt like very familiar to things I've already read. I kind of saw it all coming. Like, nothing really shocked me. It was a little too predictable for me, but it was fun, and I did read it in like 2 days. It was like one I couldn't put down, so like that, it gets points for that. I don't know. We haven't talked about it for book club yet, so like I'll be interested to see like what people have to say when we meet tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. So yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars. It was good. It was a quick book, but also I just don't know how to feel about the author currently, so that kind of knocked it down a bit for me. And then the last book that I read this month was Red Rising by Pierce Brown, which is basically like outer space, dystopian. So we have like this society that's based on colors. So you have reds at the bottom and golds at the top. And we have this red named Darrow who basically loses everything. And so he makes it like his mission to bring down the golds. And so that's kind of what it follows. The first half of this is like him just like preparing to go like make his way into like gold society. I'm very interested to see where the rest of this series will go. I actually rated this 4 stars because I did really enjoy it, but it wasn't like, it was a little bit too confusing for me to give it 5 stars, even though I think it was really good. There's just a lot of terminology that still, like, towards the end of the book, would get confused. Because it's just kind of weird, especially, like, once you really get into the middle of this book. But essentially, he's trying to, like, lead a revolution or start a revolution. The Reds are rising. So I've like put this off for so long. I'm very glad I finally read it. I finished it this morning. So it did barely make it onto this June wrap up. I definitely am going to read the rest of the series, but like right now I'm trying not to buy books. So like my entire July TBR is books I already own. I may see if the library has these, and then like later if I want copies of them, I'll buy them. Just because I kind of want to continue this, but I don't want to buy them right now because I'm trying to be careful with my money this month. So I did really enjoy this. It took me a little bit longer than I thought it would to read it, but I definitely would recommend it, especially if you're into like dystopian fantasy. It's not really fantasy, it's a dystopian, but so yeah, so that was my like not the best month of June for reading. I am hoping to read more. I let my friends pick my July TBR, so I had no say in any of the books that I am going to be reading next month. I basically just sent them a picture of all my unread books and let everyone choose one. So that will be up tomorrow. I am going to do a reading vlog this week, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and start one of the books on my July TBR today. So that will go into the reading vlog because I don't think I'll finish anything before tonight, so it wouldn't go into June. So I'm just going to start something for July. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.